it's really hard to talk NFL without talking to Cowboys, right? I'm not one of those guys that believes that you have to talk Cowboys every week because I just don't find them that compelling for the most part, even though they are technically America's team. And let's be real here. In NFL discussion, they are a driver of attention, right? People want to hear about the Cowboys. And I'm not going to talk about them now because people want to hear about them, just because, I did think I found something interesting, right? So let's get to that a little bit, right? So obviously, Cowboys played the Chargers over the weekend and they got the win, but they did it by going away from what they've been trying to do for a while. What do I mean by that? Obviously, we know Dak Prescott became the richest quarterback, I think the richest player in NFL history this past offseason when Jerry Jones pretty much gave him everything he wanted, paid him everything. I think Dak is going to make a total of like $75 million this year alone, which is crazy, right? But even still, we saw at the beginning of last year, first 4 or 5 games before he got injured, and then the opening game this year, the Cowboys have really been airing it out, just throwing the ball all over the yard. They've beefed up the receiving core. Obviously, they got a lot of talent there, a lot of speed, a lot of great hands, and so I'm kind of curious with that to know what's the focus behind that. I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but is it a function of okay, Dak's making all this money? We have to show why he's making all this money? Is it a function of Jerry Jones loves for the Cowboys to be a show almost more than he loves for the Cowboys to win? Is it a function of Kellen Moore, the Cowboys offensive coordinator, is trying to get a head coaching job and a sexy, explosive passing game generally seems to be the way to do that in today's modern NFL? What is that about, right? But at the end of the day, Cowboys got their first win of the season. They're 1-1 so far this year. But how did they do it? They didn't throw the ball all over the yard, right? Dak was uber efficient. 23 of 27 passes he completed for 237 yards. So you say, well, this is the modern NFL. Dak only threw for 237 and the Cowboys still won. Well, how did they do that? Well, I'll tell you. They ran the football, you know what it is, for 198 yards, okay? They ran the football for 198 yards. And what does that mean? If you listen to this pod, you know what it is. It gets right back to my simple football mantra, the easy way to win. You could probably even put this in football for dummies. You ready? Run the ball, stop the run. Run the ball, stop the run. One more time. Run the ball, stop the run. It is literally that simple. I know the running back position isn't as respected anymore. I know it's not sexy, and they will tell you that you can't win just by running the ball, but you can have a heck of a lot of success that way. If your defense is good enough and your running game is good enough, you still can win that way. Russell Wilson won his Super Bowl that way, right? With a dominant defense and a dominant run game and a quarterback who could make plays when necessary, but didn't have to throw for 300 or 400 yards every game, right? You can still do that. Run the ball, stop the run. Anyway, so you look at the game and you see that the Cowboys ran for 198 yards, and a couple of interesting notes pop out from that. And the first thing is Ezekiel Elliott may not be the dominant running back he once was, right? And, what is this, his fifth year in the league? So he probably, well, theoretically, he should be entering his physical prime, right? We saw him at this point, was 27 years old, maybe 28. So, 27 to 30, 31 in running back years, that's the prime, right? So he should be perfect. We saw him come into the season in the best shape that he's pretty much ever been in since he came into the league. So he's ready, but he just looks different, right? In this game against the Chargers, he had 16 carries for 71 yards, which is not terrible, but they were tough yards, in between the tackles yards. Take the hit and get a little extra, right? But he's not looking as explosive as he once did, even though, again, he came in tremendous shape. Now, part of that has to be that the Cowboys' offensive line has aged and is not nearly the dominant unit that it was earlier in his career. You have better run blocking units like the one in Baltimore, the one in Cleveland, the one in Tennessee. Derrick Henry plays a huge role there. And of course, we'll talk about him a little later. But the point is the Cowboys O-line is not what it once was, and neither is Zeke. So now you look and you see Tony Pollard, the lightning of the Thunder and Lightning, which would be Zeke and Pollard. And he was the big hitter in this game. He had 13 carries for 109 yards, and he really showed that burst. I think he averaged almost 8 yards a carry, like 7.7 yards a carry in that game. So it is very interesting. And I guess the question is, what do we expect from Zeke going forward? Is it a situation where he's still young enough and hasn't had major injuries that maybe if they can retool or revamp this O-line a little bit, he can get back to, the Zeke that we knew in his first 3 years? Is it a function of he'll never get back to that because the Cowboys are determined to throw it a lot more because they're paying Dak $40 million a year. So he's not going to just turn around and hand it off every play, right? Even though if you want to win, what do? Run the ball and stop the run. But it's very interesting to see what is Zeke going to be. Can he get back to some semblance of his former All-Pro self? I don't think he's that far off, but you can clearly see a decline that he's not the same guy. So, like I like to say a lot in sports and on this pod, it'll be interesting to see. Kind of just got to wait, see how it plays out.